the UFC duck term has gone too far.
Suddenly I'm ducking him. I've never had negotiations to even fight him, if this makes sense.
Jon Jones is a duck. Islam Makhachev is a duck. Everywhere you turn, fans are screaming about fighters dodging each other. Impatience is one of the reasons why ducking is such a popular term in the UFC today. So who's really ducking? Is Jon Jones running from Tom Aspinall? Is Islam Makhachev avoiding Ilia? Or is it someone else? Let's dive into the history, the drama, and the truth to find the UFC's biggest duck. First, we need to know what is ducking. In MMA, ducking is when a fighter deliberately avoids a tough opponent, usually a top contender, who could ruin their record, title, or legacy. It's not just missing a fight, it's sidestepping someone who's a real threat. So we need to ask ourselves, why do fighters duck someone? The UFC is their job, and they know it's not good to go against what fans want. But we always have to ask, what's in that fight for the fighter who ducks? If there's no big money, no legacy boost, why would they risk their health, legacy, or time for nothing? People often compare boxing to MMA, whether discussing fighter pay, organization, or other aspects. A prime example of ducking in boxing is Floyd Mayweather, who was accused of avoiding Manny Pacquiao for years. They finally fought in 2015, but many fans claimed Pacquiao was past his prime. If you ask Floyd, he'd probably say, "Why would I risk my legacy for less money when I can wait, take less risk, and make more?" Many fighters accused of ducking likely follow this logic. Why choose a riskier fight when a better option exists? At the end of the day, fighters, like all humans, want what's best for themselves, though some might not seem entirely human. Let's look at the UFC's history to see how this plays out. Let's start with GSP versus Anderson Silva. From 2010 to 2012, GSP ruled welterweight and Silva was untouchable at middleweight. Fans begged for a super fight. Silva offered to drop to 170 pounds, but GSP said the size gap was too much. Dana White was annoyed, saying GSP wasn't stepping up, but GSP's camp argued he was smart, focusing on his division. 10 years later, in the interview with MMA Fighting, GSP said this.
Is there a part of you that like feels, oh my God, I should have faced him when we both were in the prime?
We could have done it. The thing is, the UFC. You know, I at the time I wasn't doing a tear in my division. I was like fighting guys nonstop coming at me, and I was saying to the UFC, if I fight Anderson, we'll be in a catch weight and we'll implement the testing. You know, at that time the UFC didn't want to do it. They were. I put up my rules. The way it works, you have when you negotiate a fight, the two opponents put up their what they want the UFC to do, and the promotion need to deal with it. But UFC never want to do a special contract for me as well. So I was fighting on my existing contract while I was going to take all the risk to deflect from my weight class, so they don't want to do it. So a big part of it was because of UFC.
One side says one thing, the other side says something else. In the comments, tell me whom to trust. Then we've got Conor McGregor versus Frankie Edgar. In 2015, McGregor won the featherweight belt, and Edgar, a former champ, was the clear next contender. But Conor jumped to lightweight for Nate Diaz and Eddie Alvarez, leaving Edgar hanging. Edgar told MMA Fighting he was promised a shot, and Dana confirmed it. Conor's fans said he was chasing bigger paydays, and Edgar's later loss to Aldo hurt his case. Still, it felt like star power trumped merit. Then we have a massive one, Jon Jones versus Francis Ngannou. From 2019 to 2021, Francis was a wrecking ball in the heavyweight division, knocking out everyone. Fans were dying for Jones, the light heavyweight GOAT, to move up and face him. Francis called him out, but Jones went quiet, citing injuries and contract disputes. In 2021, Dana White ironically claimed Jon Jones was scared to fight Francis.
Man, the idea of a Jon Jones fight seems awfully exciting right now. And Jon came out, tweeted, said, "Show me the money." What appeals to you most? Because it seems like that would be an amazing super fight.
If I'm Jon Jones and I'm home watching this fight, I start moving to 85.
You think that's a fight that you'd like to put together next? I mean, I know we don't matchmake, but that sure does seem exciting.
Listen, I could sit here all day and tell you, what show me the money mean. I tell you guys this all the time. If you can say you want to fight somebody, but do you really want to?
Jones fired back in a video saying, if you're scared to fight Francis, doesn't mean I am scared.
It's because you would be afraid to fight Francis doesn't mean I would be afraid to fight Francis. You're probably not like me. Remember that.
He also unleashed a Twitter storm. What a great way to promote the fight. Let's just shit on Jon Jones and make him seem afraid. How dare he ask to get paid serious money for a serious fight? Go to 185? I didn't gain all this weight for no reason. And if anyone is wondering if I really want to fight, the answer is yes. I also really want to get paid. He even tweeted, Conor McGregor wants big money, it's expected. Jon Jones wants money, now he's scared. But when Francis left the UFC in 2023, the fight never happened. 4 years later, in 2024, Dana White flipped the script claiming Jones would have dominated Francis like he did Cyril Gane in 2023.
Then he goes out for 3 years, right? Sits out for 3 years, comes back, and beats Cyril Gane. Like that, easily. In my opinion, he does the same thing to Francis.
What?
100%. Does the same thing to Francis. Jon Jones, Francis didn't want to fight Jon Jones. Jon Jones is the scariest, most badass fighter of all time.
Francis hit back at a PFL presser saying, I was the one requesting the Jon Jones fight. They told me Jones didn't want to fight. After all the back and forth, we have Jon Jones claiming one thing, Francis asserting another, and Dana White adding his own spin. Who can we trust? With all the information at hand, someone's likely bending the truth. We can also see clear parallels between today's situation with Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall, who is once again talking about big numbers. While we're at it, let's discuss the biggest duck accusations in the UFC today. Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. Jones, the heavyweight champ, won the belt in 2023 by choking out Cyril Gane in under 3 minutes. He defended it in November 2024, retiring Stipe with a third-round TKO at UFC 309. Aspinall, the interim champ, claimed his belt in 2023 with a first-round knockout of Sergey Pavlovich and defended it against Curtis Blades in July 2024, avenging his only UFC loss. Aspinall's been begging for a unification fight, but Jones keeps shutting it down like a steel door. He says Aspinall hasn't beaten anyone elite, demands big payday, and talks about fighting Alex Pereira or retiring. There are 3 options to explain Jon Jones's behavior regarding Tom Aspinall. First option, Jon Jones isn't stupid. He knows how to play the game. Here's the strategy. Jones ducks Aspinall, fans go crazy demanding the fight, the hype skyrockets, and the fight's value shoots through the roof. That means Dana White can offer Jones a bigger paycheck, and Jones, the chess player, gets exactly what he wants. Second option, Jon Jones has a massive ego, which he undeniably does, and it's hurting him. He knows Tom Aspinall is a dangerous fight and could beat him, potentially ruining his legacy. His ego was on full display in the UFC 309 post-fight interview when he teased, maybe we'll give the fans what they want
to see.
The arena was packed with celebrities and the whole world was watching. Did anyone expect him to say, I want to fight Alex Pereira, which he later mentioned in the post-fight press conference? Jones even called Aspinall an asshole, saying, he's just an asshole, bro. If he had a little more respect, maybe we could have worked something out. I'm not hating on Jon. He's the GOAT of this sport, no question. But if Aspinall is an asshole, what the fuck are you, Jon? Let's not forget how you've caused chaos in the UFC by being an asshole yourself, like the steroid scandal with Daniel Cormier.
Come on.
Third option, this one's probably not true, but maybe Jon Jones is as dumb as a fucking rock on the street. Maybe he genuinely believes fighting Alex Pereira makes more sense than facing Aspinall. Aspinall has earned the right to fight for the undisputed title, which by the way you're holding. If you don't want to fight him, just vacate the belt, bro. It's not that hard. Now, things are heating up fast. Dana White went live on Instagram saying, we'll get Aspinall versus Jones done. The heavyweight fight will happen.
I told you guys already, we'll get Aspinall versus Jones done. Jon Jones versus the heavyweight fight will happen. Just relax. I'll announce that soon. Oil up. I'm assuming that means everybody's happy. I'm not sure if oil up is a good thing.
Meanwhile, Jon Jones, cruising on a motorcycle in Thailand, fired back.
I got people in the chat calling me a duck. Meanwhile, I'm living my absolute best life. I don't know if it's considered ducking when you're living good. I don't think it works like that.
And he almost crashed. This could be the biggest fight in UFC history. We hope Dana and Hunter can make it happen. Now, let's move on to the second biggest accusation of ducking in the UFC today. Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria. Dana White announced that Islam will move up to welterweight to fight Jack Della Maddalena for the welterweight title, while Ilia will face Charles Oliveira for the vacant lightweight title. However, one thing remains unclear. Islam was forced to vacate his lightweight belt, despite stating on Twitter a few days ago that he would not give it up. This Saturday's main event will define my next move, but regardless of the outcome of that fight, I'm not going to vacate my lightweight title. We might get a real contender there. Ilia vacated his 145-pound featherweight belt because he has no intention of ever fighting in that division again. But why was Islam forced to vacate his lightweight belt? He even said he'd be willing to fight the winner of Oliveira versus Ilia if that fight happens. So this is for the people calling Islam a duck. At the beginning of this discussion, we talked about what's in it for the fighter accused of ducking. Ilia vacated his belt and now wants to fight Islam for the lightweight title. That's a big opportunity for him, and it's great that he's pursuing it. Islam, on the other hand, has two options: defend his lightweight belt for the 5th time against Ilia, or move up to welterweight to fight Jack Della Maddalena for a chance to become a double champion. Why would Islam choose the less rewarding option? Many people also claim that Ilia ducked Movsar Evloev, but why would Ilia fight Movsar when he has the chance to compete for double champ status? You need to understand that when fighters have options, they choose the one that's best for them, not the worst one. We will definitely see Islam versus Ilia. These fighters aren't retiring anytime soon. Regardless of what happens in Islam's next fight, he will face the winner of Ilia versus Oliveira. If Oliveira wins, it could validate Islam's fans who claim Ilia isn't a deserving contender. However, if Ilia wins, the matchup with Islam will be even bigger and more exciting, and no one could question Ilia's worthiness for the fight. Also, I want to mention that I didn't want to include deserving or not deserving a shot. We will let the UFC decide that.
What is your plan moving forward for the next few weeks?
I'm not really worried about the Tom fight. I'm really worried about the Pereira fight. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do, and I think if the UFC wants to have me back, then I think that's the fight they'll make. I've been really clear about my intentions. That's what I want, and I mean, I just feel like anybody would understand at this point. Like, you know, I'll retire the heavyweight belt if I have to. It's like, dude, give the guy what he wants at the end of the day, you know? And I'm not talking to Dana directly. I feel like I'm at a place now where, you know, like I want to take what I find to be super fights. I don't want to fight dangerous up-and-comers anymore. I want to fight dangerous, established champions. So Tom can have the heavyweight championship. I don't really care about it. That my body doesn't lie in belts anymore. I've created something much bigger. I want prayer. Man, styles makes matchups. And I'm sure Pereira's knocked out many heavyweights in his day. I mean, he has a knockout power that transcends, like, it's bigger than weight. Very special. And for me, it'd just be worth my while fighting against Pereira. You know, people can call me a duck and a chicken. I'm going to go home and cash a massive check. And so the duck and chicken thing is kind of funny. Yeah, that's kind of what I want. And if it doesn't line up, then professing my love for Jesus in front of everybody tonight, and telling the world how proud I am to be an American champion, and fighting in front of my president, man, if that was my last fight ever, then I'm cool with that. That was the way to do it.